You pay attention because the information that I am providing you the next few days is critical to not only the future of your projects in this class, but also the future of projects in your future if you choose to pursue this any further in additional classes. So I do want to make an announcement and let you know that as of yesterday, if you go to Canvas, which you all should be seeing my screen, if you go to Canvas and under announcements, you'll notice on our weekly lesson plans that I have here, I have updated it with a Getting Started Premiere Pro video. I recorded a YouTube video and posted it so that if you missed yesterday, you now understand what we did. And I will do this daily. I will record our conversations that we're having, and I will post them to Canvas so that you can see what you missed if you ever miss. So if you ever are absent a day, where should you go? Canvas, yes, Canvas. Good job. Good call. All right, so that's step one. Step two, listen closely because a lot of people will need this information. We are using 5 files. We call them media assets in class today. How do I get those 5 files is a common question that I have. In Canvas, you will go to your Canvas Video Productions class page and you will click on Files. And you will notice that we have a folder here called My Nature folder. When you click on that, there are 5 media assets in there. If you do not already have them on your computer, this is where you access them. I am warning you, download these assets one at a time. If you download all 5 at the same time, it will put them in a zipped compressed folder, and you will have questions as to how to extract that zip compressed folder. And that will take an additional step. If you download them one at a time, they will go straight to your downloads folder and you'll be able to access them easily. Not to say that you can't extract files. You can, but it's just an additional step that I don't want you to have to take today. So, what are you going to do with these? Are you going to download them all together at one time or are you going to download them individually? Individually, thank you. Okay, so there's that. Once again, they're located under Files on our Canvas page. So there you go. The next thing we want to learn about today is our video. So, our video, you will, and I think best practice is going to be create a folder in our Documents folder on our desktop. You will all log in individually today. So you will use your own individual account to log into the computer. And when you get there, you will recall yesterday that we created a folder and we created 5 subfolders within that. Here's best practice. Here's something that I want you to kind of get used to doing is you can create a new tab here. So have 2 tabs open of your file explorer. That's what this is called. I want one tab to be hovered over on the right-hand side. So when you grab it and you hover over, it will snap to the right-hand side of your window. And on the other side, I want your other tab. Okay, so you have 2 file explorers open. The reason we do this is so that when we transfer data from one file or one location to another location, I want both of these open. For instance, when I go out and get footage with my camera, I am recording that footage to an SD card. I then bring that SD card to my computer, okay? In this case, it's titled Seagate. When I plug my SD card into my computer, it's there. So now you'll notice on the right-hand side, I can access the information that's on my SD card. Okay, in this case, it is these 5 files that I'm working with. Today for you, it's not an SD card, it's actually in your downloads folder. All right, but for me, it's different. I'm going to be in my SD card, okay? So when you guys get footage on your camera, this is how you'll do it, SD card. You never, ever take footage directly from your SD card into Premiere Pro, okay? How often should you do that? Never, ever, never. All right? Take footage from your SD card to Premiere Pro. It's bad practice because you will eventually get into your project. You'll have to save it. And then you'll come back to your project. Ultimately, you won't have that SD card. And all your files in Premiere Pro will be missing. And you'll get those warnings that some people got yesterday of media is missing or something. Okay? It's the screen of death in Premiere Pro. You don't want that. So we will always take our files and on our Documents folder, and when we log in, My Documents, you will create a folder in here called My Nature Video, similar to what we did yesterday, right? You create that folder in Documents. My Nature Video is your main folder, and within that folder, you have 5 subfolders. This is what you name them. 01 underscore video, 02 underscore photos, 03 underscore audio, 04 underscore Premiere Projects, and 05 underscore exports. There's a method to the madness, just trust. And under video footage, guess what? You're going to drag your videos that you downloaded, these 3 files here, an MP4, an MOV, and an MOV. Those are my movie files or video files. I would grab those and drag them to my video footage, okay? And then they will show up there. Also, photos. That's a JPEG or a PNG. You will drag that over to photos and put it in there. And then finally, the .wav, a WAV file, is your audio. You'll drag that and put it into audio. The goal is to have 3 subfolders with media assets in them. This one and this one we'll talk about here in a minute. Okay? So as long as you know, in my documents, that's where I want your main folder. Within that main folder, 5 subfolders. Everybody got that? Yes. Great. Grand. Wonderful. Okay, next step is we are going to open up Premiere Pro. Premiere Pro is this logo down here. It is a P and an R in purple with a black box around it. If you search this tab down here, you might search for Premiere and pull up something called Premiere Rush. Don't do that. Okay, there's another one that sometimes comes up. Don't do, it's like Premiere or it's something else. I don't know what the other one was, but don't click this one, okay? You're looking for Adobe Premiere Pro 2025, the full app, okay? If you cannot find it right here on this taskbar, start over with the Windows key and click here and find it. But you're looking for Adobe Premiere Pro 2025. Good practice is to take that, right click on it, and pin it to your taskbar so that it's always there, okay? Mine is already there. It says pin to taskbar, so you'll pin it. Okay, next thing is we're going to open up Adobe Premiere Pro. Mine always opens on the wrong screen, so bear with me a second as it opens. Oh, just kidding. All right, so Premiere Pro is now open. You will get this welcome screen. Welcome to Premiere Pro, and you will have your name. Some of you, it may ask you to log in. If it does ask you to log in, you will use the credentials that you use to log into your email address. All of you get an Adobe account through the school for being in this class. You are already licensed to use the programs in the Adobe Creative Cloud suite. So all you have to do is log in with your email address and you'll be good to go. That also goes for home, guys. If you're working on a project at home, you can log in and download these programs to your computer at home, okay? As long as you're enrolled in this class. If you're not enrolled in this class, eventually they are going to re-update their licenses and you'll be booted, but enjoy it while it lasts. All right, so I have Premiere Pro open. It welcomes me. I'm going to start a new project. When I click New Project, it is going to bring up my new project window and ask me to name my project. If you recall from yesterday, I'm going to name my project My Nature Folder, or My Nature Video, sorry. My Nature Video, that's your project name. Location, and this is uber important because people have already lost their files. Your location that you're going to save this, you'll drop this box down, you'll choose your location, and you are going to choose where you just created those subfolders. So Documents, My Nature Video, and we're working on a project now. This is my project name, so I'm going to put it in folder 4, Premiere Projects, in there. Your title is My Nature Video. Then you're going to click Save, and it's going to go in there. Okay? Is that clear where you're putting your project? Subfolder 4. Okay? You should have done it in Documents, My Nature Video, subfolder 4, Premiere Projects. So that's your location. And then you're going to click on the template. Please don't do any template. Leave it none. And skip import mode. If you don't skip import mode, it'll bring up an additional window after you click create that you'll just click skip there. But just get in the habit of skipping import mode. It just makes it a little bit easier. I'm going to uncheck it so you'll see what that box looks like so that you can get out of it. So now I'll click create. It will not ask you to replace. I've already done this, so it asked me to replace it. Okay, this is the import mode that you didn't click that box to skip. So I'm going to take an additional step here of skipping it here. Now, these are the 4 panels that I want to concern ourselves with today. The first panel and most important panel currently is my import media panel down here. It's also called a project panel. This is where all my media assets will go for my project. Couple different ways, actually like 4 different ways you can import media. I'm going to show you one that's I think is the easiest, but I'm going to bring my media assets that I downloaded from Canvas and put in my respective folders over to this project now. So I double click in this box and I will look at documents, I will look at my nature video, and I will look at video footage. And guess what? I have 3 videos there because I've already organized them. So there's my 3 videos. I'll double click again and I'll go one more step out. I'll look at photos and I will bring that over. Double click again, and the last one I want is my audio. Double click and bring it in. I have 5 media assets I should have in my project. How many media assets do I have in my project? 5. If you have 6, you're doing something wrong. You've duplicated something or you pulled something over you shouldn't have. If you have 7 or 4, it's wrong. You should have 5. 3 video files, 1 photo file, and 1 audio file for today's project. Okay? I'm going to show you one more way to do it. If I wanted to, I could click on this Import Media tab, and I could select all 3 of these folders. Actually, I lied to you. I'm not going to do it that way. I'm going to do it from my File Explorer. Documents and My Nature Video. I have 3 folders here, okay? Video, photos, and audio. I could drag all 3 of those folders over and drop them in here from my File Explorer, and it creates a nice, neat system for me that I know exactly where my videos are, I know exactly where my photos are, and I know exactly where my audio files are. If you prefer to do that, if you like being a little more organized, more power to you, okay? These are called bins now. If you store them, they're called bins, and you can access those bins up top here on your project panel. It's up to you how you do that, okay? Just so you know, you have those options. I'm going to redo this so that you just see all 5 at once. And then my last one is my photo. All right, so I have 5 assets, 5 media assets in my project panel. When I ask you later this week, and I quiz you, I have you pull up Premiere Pro, I have you go through and start a new project and do all these things, and I ask you what the project panel is for, you're going to tell me that it's for where all my media assets go. Okay, that's where I import media, that's where my media assets are stored. Okay, it is a good idea to Control Save, Control S, just so you have, don't rely on the auto save. Control S will save your project. Do that every so often so that if something goes wrong and if something crashes or the power goes out, you have a good saved document. So get in the habit of clicking Control S after you do some things, especially major things. All right, so I have these media assets in here. My next panel I want to talk about is my source panel up here on the top left. My source panel is where I can preview my media assets. If you hover over them down here in the project panel, you can scrub through and kind of see a brief introduction of what that video looks like. Audio doesn't really help you much, but on videos you can scrub through and see them. But if I wanted to see it in a little bigger screen, I could double click it and now it's up here. I'll press play and it goes through what that video looks like. Okay, I can fast forward or rewind here. If I press play and go through it, all right, and then I press stop. If I ever wanted to start back at the beginning, I could press the up arrow. If I wanted to go immediately to the end, I could press the down arrow. If I wanted to go frame by frame, all right, one still shot at a time, I could press the left arrow or right arrow. Left goes back frame by frame, right goes forward frame by frame, okay? If I needed to trim this video up here, I could do it up here in the source panel. Let's say I wanted to start this particular clip right here for some reason, which it won't play a huge role in this video because it's a nature video, but if you were interviewing somebody and you wanted to take out portion of it, you could use the in-out markers, all right? 2 ways to do it. You can click in, and that's where your video will start, or Control Z is always an undo button. or you could click the I button on your keyboard. I and O are in and out. So then I wanted to come out right there, meaning that's where I wanted the video to stop. So now that's my new video. Okay, so it's up to you how you do that. There are other features here. You can go straight to the end, go straight to the out. You can fast forward, frame left, frame right, but I just showed you how to do that with your arrows. The space bar is always your play button and your stop button whenever you're working on a project in Premiere Pro. So just so you know, you can do that. Okay, so the source panel in Premiere Pro is for you to preview your media assets. Okay, so source panel is preview media assets. Now, let's build a project together. The most important part of your project is going to be your timeline. That is the next panel I wanted to show you. Over here is your timeline. When you drag media over into your timeline, it creates something that a Premiere Pro calls sequences. All right, so for our movie, we're talking about sequences, our movie project. We learned about sequences as one of the most important vocabulary terms in the past, but a sequence is what Premiere uses as your chunks, and you could create different sequences, put them all together, blah, blah, blah. But every time you drag something over to your timeline, it creates a sequence. Okay, so I just drug this movie file, this media asset, over to my timeline. If you'll notice, it created a copy in my project panel. That's okay, leave it alone. I'll explain that further at a future lesson. But it's more compatible, it's compressing down, it's modifying, it's good. All right, Premiere Pro does it for a reason so that when it exports everything, it comes together smoothly. So now I have an additional file in my project panel, not a big deal. If you'll notice, they're duplicated, leave it alone. You're gonna drag over another one. So I have my first video here. I'm gonna drag over another video. And I want to put it next to my existing video. When I move it to my timeline, it will snap to the end of that video, and I can drop it and let it go. This video also brought over some audio. If you hover over this, you'll notice there's a video tab here and there's an audio tab. Okay, so it also brought over some audio. I'm not going to use that audio. I'm going to use my own audio, so just don't worry about it right now. Okay, so I have two video assets in my timeline. Let's say, and your project today is going to be create a 45-second nature video. I have already noticed that my video, when I expand my bar down here, I have noticed my video, if paying attention to the time up here, these are seconds, these are minutes, these are hours, paying attention to the time up here, my video is already longer than 45 seconds. It's approximately 1:14, okay? That's too long. So what can I do to shrink that down? Well, these videos that I drug over, if you'll notice when I hover over them, when I get to the ends, it brings up a little red bracket. I can use that red bracket to trim my video here. And it shows you up top where you're trimming your video at. So let's stop this at approximately 15 seconds. There we go. Now this video, I'm going to drag so that it snaps to my existing video, and I'm going to do the same. Let's drag this over to about 15 seconds. Okay, so now I have two videos. They're approximately 15 seconds. My total product is 30 seconds long so far. I want my project to be 45. I have one more video to bring over. This woman on a mountain video. Let's bring it over. I want this to be about 10 seconds. Trim it down. And you can trim from the front or from the back. It doesn't matter. But you can trim it down. So now I have 3 videos in my timeline. A total of 39 seconds. Okay, I want to scoot these videos down because I want to add my photograph, my still frame, at the beginning. I think that will be a nice welcome to the video. Okay, so one of the shortcuts that I need to know is Control A. When I'm in my timeline, if I Control A, it selects everything that I have in my timeline. I can now grab them and it will move all of them down. Let's move this down to about the 45-second mark. If you'll notice, as I move them up here, my time is changing. That is the length of my project, because I am looking at my final project up in the last panel, the program panel. The program panel is where everything comes together. That is a complete preview of my complete project. So now it's approximately 45 seconds. It's close enough. We could drag it a little further if we wanted. All right, that's about as close as I can get to 45 seconds on the dot. And so now I can click again to unselect what I have, and I'm going to drag my final piece of the puzzle is my photograph. I drug it over, I put it at the front, and that's great, but you'll notice that it's not butted up to. There's space. Here's what that looks like in my video if I have space. When I press play, you'll see that the screen goes black, and then it picks up again at the waterfall. When you have those transitions, that looks ugly. All right, so let's select these, and how I can only select these is I'll drag my mouse to only the items, the assets that I want to select, and let's snap it to that. So now when I press play and I go from the photo to the video, it's a smoother transition. Okay, so now I have all 4 of my media assets that I want to play on my video in my timeline. The last piece of the puzzle is my audio. Okay, my audio, I need to drag it over. I'm going to drag it to an audio layer. You'll notice I have 3 audio layers here. I want to drag it over to my audio layer. I'm going to drag it to my top audio layer because if you'll notice, this video came with audio. When I drop it over the top, it's going to replace that audio from that video. So it gets rid of it for me, which is handy in this case because this is the only audio I want. But you'll also notice when I shrink my bar out here, my timeline, and I expand it out to, my audio is 2 minutes and 8 seconds long. That's way too long. I have a 45-second deadline, all right, or requirement in this case. So I'm going to do the same that I did with my video, and I'm going to grab it from the right-hand side, and I'm going to shrink it down, and this will also snap when I get close to the end of my video footage. It snaps to, and you'll see the marker there that popped up to the end of the video. So now I have a video with audio that is approximately 44 seconds long. It meets the requirements of the project. Okay, let's test it. When I play it, remember I play with my space bar. When I play it, I should see all 3 videos, my still photography or my still photo and my audio all in the project. Okay, so my video's looking good. I preview it, it's 45 seconds, it looks good. You can fast forward. You guys are wearing headphones, so it's not as obnoxious. All right, but that's my video. I'm happy with it. Okay, I'm gonna click Control S just to save it because I've made some changes and I need it to be saved. But I don't have a video yet. Right now, it's just a project on Premiere Pro. So now I'm going to go through the steps to export my project and create a video. We're going to go through those steps, so pay attention. This doesn't do us any good yet because it's just a bunch of layers and a bunch of media assets thrown together. Up top here under File, top left, File, I'm going to go to Export. When it pops up on the right, you'll see several options. I want to export my media. This is going to bring everything that I have down in my project. If I only have one item selected, it is going to only export that one item. So don't do that. Either select none of them or select all of them. All right? Just as a good habit, because I don't want you to export just one thing. I want you to export the entire project. Okay? I like to have nothing selected. But go to Export and Media. It'll bring up a new panel for you. These are all your options you have. You're going to export your video as an MP4. You can leave the file name alone. You need to make sure that your location is in which subfolder. Remember we created subfolders in my documents, my nature video, all these subfolders. Where do you think my export's going to go? In my export folder. Okay? And then you will click Save. That, when you click Save, it changes your location. You're not done yet. Make sure your preset is your match source adaptive high bitrate. There are a slew of options here. All right, we want adaptive high bitrate. Format, you always want H.264. It's the most compatible. You'll see all of these wonderful things here. If you try and get creative and select something different, it will mess up. MP3 is only going to pull your audio. Like, there are different formats here. Don't worry about them. You want H.264 always. The other ones do not worry about right now. Okay? And then you'll come down here to export. When you click export, it's going to take, depending on the size of your film or your video project, this is only 45 seconds, so it may take like a minute and a half, 2 minutes to export it. Not that big a deal. But when you export it, a box will pop up and it'll say encoding, blah, 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 and export it. That means that it is now in your folder. Oop, wrong button. In your folder, your File Explorer, in Documents, in Nature Video, your exports, because that's where you told it to go, it's now here as an MP4, a video that you can do a lot of things with. You can upload it to YouTube or whatever streaming platform you have. And this video is your complete project. Okay, if you fast forward, it's the woman on the mountain. It's the beautiful scenery. Okay, so that is your final product. That means you did it correctly when it's exported as an MP4. Okay, so that's why we have 5 subfolders. 3 for media assets, 1 for our working project, so I can still access it in here, and then 1 for exports. Exports is your final product. If you need to edit something, you'll have to edit it in your projects folder. Okay, you'll bring that up and it'll bring up Premiere Pro, and it will bring up back to your timeline. Okay? Do you have any questions about that? Your goal today is to import those 5 media files into Premiere Pro, create a 45-second video. I don't care what order it's in, but you have to use all 5 of those media assets that I provided you. If you still need the media assets, they're in Canvas, under Files. Please download one at a time. When you download them, they're going to go to your Downloads folder. Over here, Downloads. They're going to be listed in here. You will need to open up a new tab, drag it over to the right-hand side, open up the other tab over here, and drag from your Downloads folder into your Documents, My Nature folder, these 5 subfolders that you have and you created. Okay? All right. I am going to release your computers